Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for a brief overview of the 3 Masters of Science programs here at Columbia Business School. My name is Noah, and I am the Assistant Director of Admissions, helping to oversee our MS programs admissions here at CBS. And I'm excited to talk to you all today about our programs and CBS in general. This is an overview of what we'll be discussing today. First, I'll be providing an overview of our programs and discussing the advantages of getting your MS from Columbia Business School. Then, we'll dive deep into each of our individual 3 MS programs, followed by resources we have for you here as an MS student. Lastly, we'll discuss what I know you are all so excited to hear about, which is the next steps in the admissions process and applying to these programs. I know we have about an hour scheduled here, but I plan to keep my presentation to the first 30 minutes or so, just so we have plenty of room in the second half for all of your questions. So here is an overview of some class profile stats across the 3 MS programs that we offer. Please do know that these vary a little bit per program, and they are just averages, and the numbers vary quite a bit when we review students individually. And I'll be discussing our holistic review process a little later in the presentation if you happen to be curious about that. As I just mentioned, we review students holistically, meaning we take all circumstances, achievements, and experiences an applicant shares with us into account when reviewing an application. And yes, if you're thinking every school says that, I can tell you here at CBS, we very much actually do it and put it into practice. So you can certainly have, say, a lower GMAT or GPA than these. They're just averages. And I'll also throw out here, we do not have minimum scores for any of our programs either. So please do not feel like your test score limits you in applying. Next, I just want to highlight some of the advantages of pursuing your MS program here at Columbia Business School. We'll talk through some of these points in the following slides, so I don't want to dive too deep into each and every one. But one thing I'd like to point out here is our new Manhattanville campus, which is our dedicated campus community in the heart of New York City. It's located 1 train stop away from main campus and was built for business students with the idea of fostering connections and community in mind. Since moving to this campus 2 years ago, we've been able to increase our classroom space by 40%, which has been amazing both for the students' learning experiences and community building. As an MS student at CBS, you have access to an alumni network that is over 52,000 strong. And immediately becoming a part of the Columbia Business School community, getting the opportunity to attend alumni networking events, industry panels, one-on-one professional chats, and more. I think you'll hear in business especially that networking is everything. I personally once had a student tell me that your network is your net worth, and that has stuck with me a lot ever since. So this highly accomplished network of people waiting to help you means a lot. It's also worth mentioning that our distinguished faculty are not only involved in academia, but also leaders in their industries. This means that they are not only able to teach you theoretical concepts, but also show students how they have personally used those concepts in their day-to-day practices. I think one thing that comes to mind for me in particular is we hosted our alumni panel a few weeks ago that will become available for publish in the next couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that if you weren't lucky enough to attend. But a lot of them talked about how their professors were introducing different concepts to them in class that they actually developed themselves, and their names were on the research papers that they were reading. And I think that's kind of an experience that you're not going to find everywhere. They also have strong industry connections through their work and invite their connections to present in class and meet their students. Again, kind of a benefit of our New York City location. In addition, talking about our New York City location, it plays a huge role in the student experience here, as I'm sure you can imagine. Being in the financial capital of the world and where thousands of companies are either headquartered or have big offices here, you'll have easy access to more companies here than you will anywhere else to have chats with, network, coffee chats, or just interview with. Another great part of going to school in New York City is that our students are not limited to just a summer internships. but also in-semester internships. They're a great way to explore more than one industry or company if you happen to have multiple areas of interest, or they can simply serve as an additional work experience on your resume. Also, on a personal note, as someone who moved to New York from a small town, being here gives you a much more lively and fleshed out personal life. There's some of the best world-class museums, restaurants, theater scenes, sporting events, and honestly, just a more interesting and diverse group of people than you're going to find anywhere else in the world. As a student, you're also eligible to join our 80 plus clubs here at CBS, which you can see some of them here. The clubs range from professionally focused to just fun and are a great way to meet new people, network, present at paneling events, and hone in your leadership and analytical skills. I'd like to call out our Quantitative Markets and Trading Club here specifically, just because it happened to be started by two MS students who wanted a professional club that supports students looking for quantitative or research roles. So they made this club to support those students with networking, guest speakers, and organized company visit opportunities. And like I said, that happens to be an example of a professional club, but there are just fun clubs to connect with other students, from a wine tasting club to a skiing club. Now, let's talk about CBS from an academic perspective. We offer a well-rounded education with a curriculum in PhD, MS, and MBA classes. You'll be strengthening your technical skills while building practical business skills that help you not only with getting a job after graduating, but actually excelling at that job and eventually getting to your ultimate dream job down the road. Again, I'll throw back to our alumni panel. One of our panelists, who's now a vice president at a major company, said that the skills she learned in her program were used on the first day of her job. So I think we all have the question of, what is a degree worth if I'm not going to learn what's being applied in my job? That's an example. The things you learn in these programs, you will be using in your day-to-day. All three of our MS programs are at least 3 semesters long, so you'll have the opportunity to do a summer internship after the spring semester if you'd like to put on your resume. Of course, if you already have a job lined up, you can complete our accelerated path and complete MSAFA or MSM programs by the end of the summer. This slide just happens to show some examples of some well-known companies our MS students have gone to work for, both in internships and full-time after graduation. And we'll discuss career service support that we provide to help you get these offers a little later in the presentation, but I just wanted to share them with you because they are super impressive and honestly cool. So now let's dive deep into each of our MS programs, starting with MSAFA. The MS in Accounting and Fundamental Analysis program transforms our students into successful investors and valuable analysts through rigorous fundamental analysis and valuation training. MSAFA students hone their research insights and quantitative skills through PhD level classes while gaining practical skills and industry knowledge in their classes. This program is 3 semesters long, and like all of our MS programs, is STEM designated, meaning that if you are an international student, you would be eligible for the 24-month STEM OPT extension in addition to the regular 12-month OPT after graduating. Many of our MSAFA students majored in business, finance, economics, and accounting in undergrad, and we prefer that you've taken some basic accounting courses, just so you aren't looking at a balance sheet for the first time when entering the program. I'll also throw out there, do not feel like you have to memorize all of these prerequisites or information about the programs. They are located on our website under our application requirements and class profile pages. I'll also throw out that while the most common majors our students come from for this program are business, finance, economics, and accounting, you can come from any background. We do not have a specific requirement for your undergraduate degree. To be clear, this is not the program for you if you are looking to become an accountant or sit for the CPA. None of these programs are. The coursework will just not prepare you for that. The program is not training you to be an accountant, but rather training you to use accounting principles to become better analysts and investors. So that is where the accounting in the title comes from. These are the typical courses that you will take in your first year in this program. These are the core classes that you'll need to build a strong foundation in fundamental analysis to become successful analysts and investors. So, fundamental analysis for investor managers and entrepreneurs, capital market and investment, and earning quality and fundamental analysis are MBA taught classes, while all the others listed here are PhD level coursework. You'll also be taking 3 electives in your second semester and mostly all electives in your third semester. You can choose these electives from CBS or other schools within the Columbia University community. I think I've heard from a lot of our alumni that they have taken classes through the law school and journalism school, but a lot of students just prefer to take them within CBS, and that's totally fine as well. The electives are a great way for you to shape your own experience as a student here at CBS. You can choose to deep dive into an area of expertise through these electives, or take a variety and explore a bunch of different topics. CBS offers over 300 electives in general leadership, as well as specific topics like entrepreneurship and innovation, climate management, family business, and more. I would highly suggest looking through our course catalog online to see what electives interest you the most. And I'll bring up our alumni panel just one more time, just because it happened to be a great experience for me personally. All 3 of our alumni panelists who covered all 3 of our MS programs we'll be talking here today. The course they said their favorite was Managerial Relations, which was a course in which they had to role play different scenarios from salary increases to being in the manager's seat and having someone request a salary increase. And I think that was just incredibly interesting to me, so I felt like sharing it with you all today. Common roles our MSAFA students get hired into are analysts and associates in equity research, credit research, investment management, and investment banking. The employment report for 2022 and 2023 graduating CBS classes are posted on our website if you'd like to dive deeper into all of the roles our students are able to get after graduating. Now let's talk about our next program, our MSFE program, which is 2 years long. The MS in Financial Economics program was designed to address the growing demand for finance leaders with strong quantitative and technical skills. So it has a heavily quantitative and analytical curriculum to provide students with industry knowledge and rigorous finance and economics training to achieve their goals and excel throughout their careers. MSFE is our most quantitatively rigorous program, and as a result, we do have these firm prerequisites, which you can see here outside of our preferred prerequisite of macroeconomics, to ensure that students are ready to handle the coursework. If you'd like to apply to MSFE and you haven't completed some of these courses, although taking them in undergrad is the preferred method of completing them, just so we know the rigor of the class and see how well you did in it with a letter grade, we do allow you to take them online through trusted sites like Coursera or via extension schools. One question I often get asked is how to choose between the MSAFA and MSFE programs, especially this year, considering you can only apply to one program here at CBS at a time. We look at this question from 2 different angles. First, what do you want to do when you graduate the MS program and in the long term? Do you want to be looking at one company at a time, or do you want to be looking at the market as a whole? In MSAFA, you deep dive into one company at a time, including a thorough analysis of the company, looking into financial statements to understand the intrinsic value of the company and make investment decisions based on those. In MSFE, you would look at the market as a whole, using programming tools to manipulate large data sets and using mathematical and statistical models to analyze investment opportunities across a range of class assets, including derivatives and options. The other thing I would think about is where you stand with these prerequisite courses. If you haven't taken many of these prerequisite quant classes for MSFE and you are graduating soon or you've already graduated, it might be really challenging for you to jump into the MSFE coursework here because many of the core classes will assume that you've taken these prerequisite courses. Also, when we talk to students about these classes, some of them say that even though they have taken these courses, they didn't really enjoy them and wouldn't want to take additional classes in those topics or work in an industry where these skills are utilized. In those cases, you probably wouldn't want to choose a master's program where you have to build on your knowledge of multivariate calculus, probability, and statistics. So, as I mentioned earlier, MSFE is our most rigorous program, so everything you see here for your first year are PhD level core classes. However, this is a 2-year program, so you do have a lot more flexibility to take electives in your second year. Every year we have MSFE students who are looking to go on and get a PhD and stay in academia after they graduate. For those students, they would also be taking microeconomic analysis 1 through 4. Most choose to take them in their first year, but you also have the option to take them in your second year as well. So the MSFE program has a 10 PhD level course degree requirement. So although there are no required classes for your second year, you will have to take 3 additional PhD level electives. And as you can see here, some of our most popular electives that MSFE students choose to take. However, similar to all of our other MS programs, you can choose to take electives across different topics and schools within Columbia University. Common roles that our MSFE students tend to go into following graduating include quant strategist, quant analyst, quant researcher at different investment banks, asset managers, and hedge funds. Again, similar to other programs, you can find the MSFE employment report on our website if you wanted to dive deeper. All right, now let's talk about our final program we'll be discussing today, which is our MSM program. It is a 3-semester program. The MS in Marketing Science provides students with an intensive experience in digital marketing and quantitative marketing analytics. The curriculum was designed and developed to train students to become analytical marketeers, where they can combine quantitative skills, market understanding, and creative insights. Given that some of these courses are quite analytical in nature, we do prefer that you've taken some probability or statistics courses, linear algebra, and that you have some experience in coding. Again, if you haven't taken any of these courses while in undergrad, you can take them online. The idea is that you have a basic understanding of these concepts before you take the core classes. And you can see those core classes here. I would say that the MS curriculum is probably the most flexible of our 3 programs. You can see here that the core classes, there are options and flexibilities within them. We design the core classes in tracks so you can decide how deeply you want to lean into analytics. So if you want to dive deep into analytics, you can choose the Marketing Analytics track and take Advanced Marketing Analytics, which is essentially a multivariate statistics course. However, if your interests lean closer to digital marketing, you can take Digital Marketing and Social and Economic Networks. No matter which track you choose, we still want you to be well-rounded in both, so there are electives that you have to take in both areas regardless, which you can see here. I'll give you a second to look through all of them, but they are also listed on our website if you'd like to learn more about a specific course or two, or the MSM degree at large. And if you're looking to apply, your essay question addresses which elective courses you would like to take. Honestly, there are really cool classes in each area, and I highly encourage you to look deeper into those that interest you. And our MSM graduates work in analytics and data-focused marketing roles in media, advertising, consumer products, online retailers, financial services, consulting, basically any organization where marketing analytics can add value. And if you're more interested in the marketing analytics track, our students often get hired into roles like data scientist and marketing data analysts. If you're interested in digital marketing, common roles are marketing analyst and managers, digital marketing analyst, product marketing manager, digital marketing manager, strategy analyst, and more. As you can see, there are a wide range of options depending on where your interests lie. Now let's talk about the support that you will receive from CBS to help you get those job offers. In addition to networking with CBS alumni, utilizing career resources and professional student clubs, and having faculty assist you, CBS also has the CMC, which I know there are a lot of letters there, but the CMC is our Career Management Center. CMC assists students with their entire career search process, from identifying job targets all the way up to managing multiple job offers. The CMC also has a team of advisors that you can meet with one-on-one for coaching sessions to help you build your interview skills and become the most competitive applicant that you can be. In addition to assisting you with your job search, the CMC also carries a database of CBS alumni in different industries and companies that becomes available to you as a student here. And not to intimidate you all, but the CMC really is hands-on with our students and wants you to be the best interviewer you can be. In our standing meeting with the CMC last week, the MS staff heard about how the CMC has students sit down in small groups and give their interview pitch to one another and provide feedback to one another, and record it and play it back for themselves and have to give themselves notes on how they can do better. And while that may sound daunting, it's kind of something you need to do in order to become the best interviewer you can be. It's kind of those designed workshops they have that make us stand apart, I think. The CMC also recently launched the MS Professional Development Program, which is a year-long, starting in orientation, required curriculum of workshops providing tools and resources needed to conduct an effective job search, which you can see all of the things they do for you as part of this program here. Another resource you'll have as an MS student is the Office of Student Affairs. They're going to be your one-stop shop for all things related to academic advising, student success, and student life. As an MS student, you'll be assigned a dedicated academic advisor to help you throughout your entire time at CBS. The coursework can be rigorous, and I mean, it is Columbia after all, but this office is here to make sure that students feel well supported. This is actually a new resource for our MS students as well. Previously, it was available only to our MBA and executive MBA students, but we wanted to make the student experience more consistent across all of our programs, so needless to say, we're pretty excited about this new resource for our MS students. Okay, finally, next steps for you as a prospective applicant. Applications are now open and available to submit on our website, which I'm sure many of you may know already. They will be due on January 16th at noon Eastern for all MS programs. They will close after 11:59 a.m. Eastern. Invite-only interviews will happen throughout February and March, and decisions will be released by the end of March. As I mentioned earlier, you may only apply to one program within Columbia Business School, and that includes the 3 MS programs that we've talked about today, any of our PhD programs and any of our MBA programs. If you're interested in 2 or more, you do have to decide on one to apply for. If you change your mind before the deadline, that's completely fine. You just have to withdraw your application for one program before starting a new application for another. If you're having trouble deciding which program is right for you, please reach out to our team. We'd be more than happy to help you in your decision-making process. As for scholarships, we do offer a limited number of partial tuition merit-based scholarships for the MS programs. We unfortunately do not offer any need-based scholarships. For the merit-based scholarships, though, you do not need to apply for them separately. Every applicant will be considered with the submitted application and materials. So, honestly, make your application the best it can be. Another question I get asked, what are we looking for? So very generally speaking, we look at 3 different buckets, if you will, when reviewing an application in a holistic way here at CBS. So first, academic history. As I mentioned, our programs are rigorous. We want to set students up for success here. So we'll look at your grades, the rigor of the classes you've taken, and we also require or highly prefer that one of your recommenders be a professor from one of your classes. So we'll look at what your recommender has to say about your academic history as well. We'll also be looking at your test score. Either the GMAT or the GRE is mandatory for the application. I get asked frequently if we have a preference for one of the two, and I can tell you that we certainly do not. And I will tell you all just here right now, because I'm sure some of you might ask, there is no waiver or exceptions we make for the GRE or GMAT requirement. There's also no minimum score requirement. As I said earlier, we look at them all. If you look at our class profile online, you can see averages, but note again, these are just averages. We take all scores and GPAs into consideration. The next thing is professional promise. Broadly speaking, we'll be looking at what you have accomplished and achieved professionally, either with your internships in school or your full-time experience if you've already graduated. If you have post-grad work experience, we require that one of your letters of recommendation come from a manager or supervisor at work. If you haven't graduated but have academic research or internship experience, we'd like to see what your manager or supervisor has to say about you as well. And again, if you have absolutely no working experience, that is completely fine. 2 of your letters of recommendation can come from academic sources. We'll also be looking to see how your career goals align with the program, because we want to make sure that we're able to provide you with the resources to achieve and reach your goals there. The third bucket is personal characteristics. We want to build a class where students can learn from each other's experiences and are involved in a collaborative community here at CBS. So we'll be looking at your essay, your interview, and extracurriculars to help us learn more about you as a person. Once we've read your application, some of you may be selected for an interview in February or March. Interviews are mandatory for admission. In other words, all candidates offered admission to these programs will have completed an interview. I get asked a lot, are the interviews going to be technical-based, skill-based? No, they really are just a genuine conversation for us to learn a little bit more about who you are as a person, engage your communication skills, and how you might contribute here at CBS. We don't offer interviews that are reliant solely on skill tests or anything like that, so there's not a real need of concern there to make sure you're practicing your skills beforehand or anything. Just show us who you truly are if you happen to be invited to one. Next, just as we're wrapping up here, I wanted to throw out some of our upcoming events we have. With our application deadline approaching, we don't necessarily have a lot of in-person events left, but I wanted to point out here that we have a bunch of Zoom office hours available to students. While we have standing ones, Wednesdays and Thursdays regardless, we developed a schedule of a bunch of different options for students because we're aware that this is a program that people might be interested in from all around the world. So a bunch of different times listed here, depending on where you happen to be or what your schedule looks like for you to join. Our Zoom office hours are essentially an open forum, so you don't need to register beforehand. Just come in, drop by, answer any question, tell us any questions you have, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. It is me doing these Zoom office hours, so I really hope I'm not too intimidating. Please feel free to stop by. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have or discuss any questions you might have as well. We also have an application tips webinar coming up in the week prior to the application. That's really sort of just a forum for you to come. We walk through the entire application process with you, really just go over the different requirements and the things that we need, and we'll go over what we're looking for again if you happen to want to hear that. You can also reach out to us via email or drop by our weekly Zoom office hours, as I just said. With the email, again, I'm the one responding to them. I hope you don't feel too shy or intimidated to reach out. Please let us know any questions you have. I'm here to walk you through the process. We also have in-person appointments each Wednesday if you happen to be in New York City, so please feel free to register to stop by. We'd love to meet you. Again, just please make sure you register beforehand. You can find the link on our website. That way we know you're coming and we can be in the office to help you. All of these Zoom office hours appointments, the in-person appointments, all of it's found on our website under the Contact MS Admissions page. If you select MS Programs, it's right there as an option. You can't miss it, so don't feel like you have to remember all of these things. And the links to access the Zoom office hours are right there. Again, you do not have to register beforehand. And with that, we'll move on to our Q&A session. Thank you all for attending again. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your days and the interest for Columbia Business School. If you don't have any questions or you don't want to stick by or you can't, that is completely fine. Feel free to go on about your day. Again, I appreciate it. If you want to hear everyone else's questions, please feel free to stick by as well. But we'll keep going for the next half an hour or so. So anyone who would like to use the raise hand function, it's a react feature in the Zoom box there at the bottom. You want to raise your hand. I will be answering those questions first. Just come on camera, ask your question. Or if you are able to go on camera, I recognize some of you might be in the office today listening to this. Please feel free to use the chat box. It's just people with raised hands will have question priority, depending on how much time we're going to be taking up with these questions. Thank you.